Customs unions and tariffs. While globalization has provided significant benefits, including lower prices, higher quality products and increased welfare, it has not come without risk, including unemployment from over-specialization and susceptibility to global shocks. The financial crisis is evidence of the risk of excessive interdependence in the global financial system. As a result, very few countries are capable of surviving in the global economy without joining some form of trading bloc, such as a free trade area or a customs union. One common feature of these is the use of tariffs on imports. To show the specific effects of a tariff, we will take the simple example of imports of steel into the EU from a non-EU country. While Germany, France and Italy are the EU's main producers, the world's largest and most efficient producers, China, Japan, USA and India, are outside the EU. This makes the EU steel producers susceptible to low-cost competition from outside. Without imports, the market equilibrium price in the EU is P1. Economic welfare is the area KAV, which is composed of consumer and producer surplus. It is assumed that the world price at P2, which is determined in the world market, is lower than the price inside the EU, and the world supply curve is perfectly elastic. The new equilibrium quantity is at QM. At the lower world price, demand in Europe extends from A to B and consumer surplus increases to K, B and P2. This means firms using steel benefit from lower prices. However, while EU users of steel benefit, EU steel producers suffer at this lower price and their producer surplus falls from V, P1 and A to V, P2 and C. This means falling profits and potential job losses. Tariffs, also known as customs duties, are taxes on imports and designed to protect domestic producers. The effect is to vertically shift the world supply curve by the amount of the tariff. Demand now contracts from B to E. Domestic supply now extends from C to F. While consumer surplus falls, producer surplus increases. The net effect is a loss of consumer surplus of the area F, E, B and C. However, the EU can gain tariff revenue of the area F, E, X and Z, which is the value of the tariff times the quantity imported. However, this is not enough to compensate for the loss of consumer surplus. The net welfare loss is the sum of the triangles C, F and Z plus E, B and X. An alternative to tariffs are quotas, which are limits on the quantity coming into a country or a trading bloc. For example, currently the EU has a quota on steel products from Kazakhstan. With no trade, market price will exist at the price which equates domestic demand and supply, at P, and with the output at Q. In an attempt to protect domestic producers, a quota of Q2 to Q3 may be imposed on imports. This enables the domestic share of output to rise to 0 to Q2 and Q3 to Q4 and causes the price to rise to P2, with total quantity falling to Q4. The amount imported falls to the quota quantity Q2 to Q3. New domestic supply has been encouraged as a result of the excess demand at price P1. Hence price increases to P2, accompanied by an extension of domestic supply. Unfortunately, the additional domestic supply may come from the entry of less efficient domestic producers. A customs union involves the removal of internal tariffs, together with the acceptance of a common external tariff against non-members. There are several benefits of being in a customs union, including gaining tariff-free access to other members' markets. Tariff removal will reverse the negative effects of a tariff and enable trade creation. Companies that export to the customs union only need make a single payment, with revenue shared between members, while the country collecting the duty retains a small additional share. Once inside, goods can move freely without additional tariffs. A customs union needs a common external tariff because without one, trade flows would become distorted. If, for example, Germany imposes a 10% tariff on Japanese cars, while France imposes just a 2% tariff, Japan would export its cars to French car dealers and then sell them on to Germany, hence avoiding 80% of the tariff. A common tariff between Germany and France solves this problem. However, being a member of a customs union means that members must negotiate collectively with non-members, and they are not free to negotiate individual trade deals. Also, it makes little sense for a member to impose a tariff on the import of a good that is not produced at all within that country. As the UK does not produce its own bananas, the current EU tariff of 10.9% simply raises prices in the supermarkets with no benefit to producers. There is also the potential problem of the allocation of tariff revenue. Those that trade relatively more with non-members, such as the UK, may not get a fair share of tariff revenue. If a country is not in a trading bloc, it will, assuming it is a member of the WTO, be subject to WTO rules. Under WTO rules, members must reduce or eliminate tariffs and are subject to the most favoured nation rule. This means that, in the absence of specific free trade agreements, all members should enjoy the same treatment as the most favoured country. Hence, if one member grants another member a special trade advantage, the same advantage should be available to all other members. This is the dilemma facing the UK after Brexit. Given that it cannot negotiate separate trade deals with EU members, it must negotiate a comprehensive and highly complex trade deal with the EU as a bloc. Also, the UK cannot benefit from trade deals already negotiated by the EU, and must negotiate brand new trade deals or fall back on WTO trade rules.
To see more videos, go to www.economicsonline.co.uk.